Attorney Jimeno, yesterday we also heard Senator Judge Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada call for your counterpart in the prosecution, and I quote him that they must rectify their statement that Chief Justice Corona owns 45 properties. Are you in agreement with Senator Judge Estrada calling for the spokespersons of the prosecution to rectify such statements that they had brought out already before the television, radio, and newspapers?
Well, I think that is commendable. So, what Senator Judge Estrada was asking for, because I think we all know here what happened. All those months, can you imagine, before the start of the impeachment trial, that was already 3 months ago, na he did not have the ability to rebut what they were saying in the newspapers, on TV, yung 45 properties. And at that time, there were several doubts cast upon his integrity and his person. And even one of the senator judges spoke yesterday and said the first time he heard this, ang pumasok agad sa isip niya, wow, parang ang dami namang properties nitong Chief Justice Corona. So, of course, there's an indirect or implication na, baka naman ninako yan because he's only the Chief Justice, is not a businessman, then how can he have 45 properties? So this is, I think, the damage has been done, and under our civil code, especially under Article 19, which you read earlier, and also our article in the civil code on quasi-delicts, which
21.
Senator Defensor Santiago read in the proceeding as well. These are causes of action in our laws. So the fact that we have remedies for these types of actions, it shows that the laws take them seriously. Now, I mean, we have an impeachment here, so we don't even know if Chief Justice would have the strength or even the time to deal with this separately, to even file those causes of action. But then maybe what Senator Judge Estrada is calling for is an even slight way of rectifying yung damage that was done to him, because the laws really provide for more. They even provide for monetary compensation as a form of damages. But then I think here, if there's really no interest on the part of Chief Justice Corona to pursue those causes of action, then maybe a public apology would be something that would be appreciated by him as the respondent. But of course, I know that might sound petty since we have this whole impeachment process going on, but I think that's also a good suggestion from Senator Estrada.
Today is our last day for the impeachment trial before we go on a break, and we will be resuming come May 7. How do you see this coming through? What do you expect as soon as you resume the impeachment trials? Are you still going to come up with other witnesses?
Yes, of course. There will be more witnesses, and I know that it has been very frustrating for the public because as one former congressman and journalist said, in one of, I read it online, he just said that facts are boring. They're not as exciting as sensational or sensational as fictional stories made up by, I think he was referring to the prosecution. Of course, I'm not saying that's an accurate statement, but I'm just saying here na totoo yan, magiging boring talaga pagka yung we adopted here, the defense has adopted a system of laying down the facts as if we were on trial, and an ordinary trial. And that's what you do. You lay down the foundational facts by people who have personal knowledge of the circumstances, mga competent witnesses. So nakita nyo naman, there's very little instances of the prosecution objecting because there are no grounds for objection. But it is not as sensational or exciting, walang napapagdilitan masyado. But then, we are under a country where we have a constitution and we have rules to follow when you're on trial. We have rules of evidence, and that's what we're trying to do here, presenting our case by following the rules. So that's what we're doing, slowly building up the case, and we are only on Article 2, and we've presented witnesses that relate to entries made by the Chief Justice and his SALN. They relate mostly to his properties, but we have yet to go to the bank account. So obviously that means that we will still present more witnesses when the trial resumes in May.
My last question, Attorney Jimeno. As spokesperson for the defense, if you were to grade your colleagues on a scale of 10, 10 being the highest, what number would you give them based on their performance?
I'll be objective. Of course, I'll be objective, no. I would say mga 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah, to 9. Because siguro, I think in terms of, they're all veteran litigators.
Yes.
And I think in terms of complying with the law, they are complying with the law. Or lahat ng dinalabas ng evidence, they're all material, relevant, they're all in accordance with our rules of evidence. That's why I'm giving them a high grade, because this is, after all, also a litigation. But yung discrepancy with them reaching the perfect score, siguro, is the reality that although our Constitution envisions this to be a proceeding that complies with the rules of impeachment and the rules of evidence, there is that reality that we have to deal with, that there are people observing this trial, and that's the public. And even if the Constitution puts the obligation of deciding the case on the senator judges, that means they have to hear the evidence, try and decide the case based on the law and the evidence. The truth of the matter is we have a whole public, a lot of them not lawyers, watching the proceedings. So I guess from my point of view, personal opinion, may pagkukulang dun sa addressing the need of the public to understand the proceeding and what's going on. So, but then, you know, the defense team is made of people who are all lawyers who are used to just litigating, not really being politicians, not trying to cater to the specific interests of people. So I think yun yung kailangan nilang gawin maybe sometimes is to present the evidence in a way na may intindihan ng publiko, hindi masyadong technical, or maybe make some comments here and there that kind of explains yung purpose ng ginagawa nila to the public. And I know sometimes baka naman misplaced if they do it inside the trial dahil nga it's a trial. So a lot of it siguro yung kailangan ma-bridge yung gap by the spokespersons then.
So in short, you're satisfied with their performance?
Satisfied naman, yes.
Thank you very much, Atty. Jimeno, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us once again with the Defense Chronicles. This is Leslie Bocobo.